All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us on EKU Football's weekly Zoom press conference. Joined as always by head football coach Walt Wells. And we're also joined today by running back Braden Latham and defensive lineman Jeremiah Bailey. Coach, we'll start with your opening statements about last week's game at West Georgia and this upcoming home game against Nicholls State. If you have questions for Coach, use the raise hand function or please message me in the chat. With that, Coach, take it away.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody for being here today. First and foremost, want to start off by sending our condolences to Sean Clark. Sean's a good friend of mine that I've known throughout my time in coaching for a long time. He actually came in after I was the O-line coach here for Roy Kidd, and he was Danny Hope's O-line coach. And so we competed against each other for a number of years, got to know each other. What a tremendous man, coach, and person. And he'll be dearly missed. His wife and kids, obviously, our thoughts and prayers go out to them. Janelle was a great Hall of Fame softball player here, and so they met while they were here. So very saddened to hear the news because we thought we were getting good news there for a while, and then took a turn for the worse. So tough day in the office yesterday for a lot of us. Him and Jake Johnson, our defensive coordinator, spent a lot of time together, close friends, Andy Richmond and others. So definitely prayers go out to that family. Going into next week, or looking at last week, not very pleased with our coaching performance and our playing performance. Think we can be better than what we were. I think in any loss, you find improvements. In any win, you find improvements. And I think we have to find those improvements, which we have highlighted those improvements, understand where we're at, and then move forward. Had some unfortunate things happen in the game that took some things away from us, but we also can't spot a team 9 points and a good ranked football team like that and expect to win. And so we have to clean up our mistakes. We have to coach better. We have to play better. And that all starts with me. And we will continue to work hard this week moving forward against a really good Nicholls team that beat a fourth-ranked Incarnate Word in their first game and has struggled a little bit since, just like we have. Similar records, 1-3, both of us coming in here. So it ought to be a great matchup. They've got some quality players. Coach Ryback has done a nice job as a defensive coordinator and now taking over as the head coach. So we welcome them into Roy Kidd Stadium. We need everybody to come out and support and be loud and proud and give us that home field advantage that we had against Houston Christian. And so with that, I'll open it up with any questions.
All right, Michael Watkins, WBON, and then we'll go over to Keith Farmer.
Coach, when you look at, if you just look at the stats, obviously, you guys had more yards, passing and rushing, time of possession. Obviously, not a big deal there, but you had more time of possession. But I think the word that you used before the season was immature for your team and just inexperience in some spots. Now that we're through these first four games, when you look at the team, what do you think has been the biggest improvement, and what do you think in that area at least do you still need to work on?
Well, I think for us, the depth we have on defense at the defensive line and in the linebacker position, especially like our two outside guys are playing really well right now, Frank Lee and Cam Jr. and Jaquez McClendon and Gabe Stevens and all those guys that are coming in and out of there. I think we thought going into it that our secondary would be solid, and they have been, and we lost our starting corner and Rashad Hintz. And so the other guys have stepped up and helped out some. We see the immaturity there a little bit now in the last two games. But it's just part of what we do and who we are. So I think those guys on defense have done a really nice job. Buzz Flabiano on our special teams, he was an unknown. We didn't know. We knew he had experience from UTEP, but he left there and was coming here, so we had to see him there. So I think those are areas that have stepped up and improved. I think in the last game, our offense stepped up and improved in a lot of different areas, but there still was some critical errors that really affected the football game that we did not improve on. And so we've got to get better there. But I thought we ran the ball better than we have all year. I thought we threw the ball better than we had all year. So I think there were some things there that we did a nice job. But, you got to win. And that's what's important. And so what I'm disappointed in is obviously our offensive output up until that point. We've got to do a better job of protecting the football and protecting, the lead that we get. And then, in that game, the drive at the beginning of the half for them, the second half, I was disappointed in our defense and just overall stopping the run on that drive. And we've got to, if we want to be an elite defense, you can't play 3/4 of a game. You've got to play the whole game. If we want to be a good team, our offense is going to have to show up every week and not give them points. If we want to be a great team, our special teams are going to have to cover and then create in the return game. And so we have to get better in those areas. We'll continue to work and find the people that want to do the things the right way. And we have to make sure we put them in those positions as coaches. I don't know if that answered your question, but there's a lot of talk.
Well, I was going to ask you too. You looked at the offense. It seemed like you finally got into a rhythm offensively. What do you think was the biggest difference this past week as to kind of what did show a better flow with the offense?
I think, playing together, all right, actually playing in games. Again, you look at our offensive line and, it sounds like an excuse, but it's reality. I mean, those guys are into their fourth game now. Now they're starting to play a little better on some certain things, like the big long run for Braden. I mean, it was zero blitz. They had us outnumbered, and we could only leave the outside guys free and block all the guys and create a lane. And that's exactly what they did. I mean, he went through there untouched, and of course, then he took over and ran it in. And I think that's a great bright spot because I mean that's hard to do. That is something that veteran lines sometimes don't pick up. But then you got to play with the consistency and do it. Not that they came back and did that blitz, but when it's just a twist, or an inside move, you can't give up a safety. And you can't come back and do that. Those are things that young players have to learn through, and we as coaches have to expose them to daily, but they have to be willing to learn and correct and be better than that. And so those are the things that we have to continue to fight through.
And I've got two more. First,
Yeah.
Miles ran. I mean, I know when we talked before the season, you were like, well, he can run, but he hadn't really seen that the first few games. Obviously, was that something that you all wanted to implement for this game, or did that just kind of how the game unfolded? Is that kind of what happened?
No, we implemented it for this game. We made a decision after the Marshall game, and I mean, as you learn your team in this new world of football we're in, when you get new players and all this and all the time, right? You learn who can do what and how they can do it. And we learned that, in those first three games that we needed to run our quarterback to create a +1 advantage. And we learned that Miles was ability was to do that. And so we went with it. Now, he's not going to be Jamel Holloway or anybody out there, running the option, but we wanted him to create with his legs too, because we knew he could run and had some ability to get first downs, much like their quarterback did. And so we gave him that ability. So a lot of those were called runs, and he did a nice job of reading it out and either giving it to Braden or taking it on his own.
All right, last one. 9 different people catch a pass for you. So when you look at that and the depth you have at receiver, tight end, or even out of the backfield, is that something that can be a positive, or is it hard to kind of get all these guys reps to where they can kind of build some chemistry with Miles?
Well, I think more importantly, it's a credit to Miles in reading the coverage and getting it to where the ball is open. And, I think that's something that we probably struggled with a little bit in the first couple of games. And he came out and distributed the ball where it needed to go. I think that's a credit to Andy Richmond and designing plays and knowing that they're going to go to different guys. I feel like we've got some weapons. We've just got to utilize them. And then they have to be consistent in catching the football. I mean, we still had too many drops on Saturday night. And, one drop is too many. just like one missed block is too many, and one incomplete pass is too many, and so we have to continue to build on that. And I know what you're saying, but they, we do that in practice. We throw it to them. We do 7-on-7s. We do two different types of 7-on-7s. We do 1-on-1s. We do a lot of different things in practice that they get to throw to these guys. They just got to continue to work on contested catches and make the easy catch. I mean, we dropped one curl that, I mean, it was right in his face mask and it would have been a 15-yard gain, and we just dropped it. And, those things, if we want to be good, we want to be elite, those things can't continue to happen. And how do you fix that? Well, you keep working on them. You keep trying to build confidence in the individual. But in the end, it's like anything. They have to make the play.
All right, going over to Keith Farmer, WLEX.
Deuce Hogan may retire from football before you. You weren't there with him, right?
No, I was not. He came in.
Been there a long time.
He was in there in the Lim era or something like that. I'm not for sure.
Just what do you see from him and as he's running offense?
Well, I think you see a guy that's got a lot of different experiences in offenses, so they do a lot of different things to try to help their team out. He's got escapability in the pocket. They'll spread him out. They'll do different things like that. I don't think so far they haven't been a big QB run guy with him. His accuracy and his throwing and his arm strength is there. His arm talent is there. So, and they got some receivers that can catch it and go. So we're going to have to do a great job of defending him and getting to him and getting him off his spot and things like that.
And what'd you see from the team? Because kind of like, you've got your FBS games, things like that. And then all of a sudden you kind of built up, hey, but everything's in front of us. And
right.
You built the start of it. Like, what have you seen from the players after West Georgia?
Well, we kind of changed what we do up. So today will be the first big day that we've been with them because we didn't get in until almost 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning. So I had them come back over Sunday night. We watched the film. We did our lift, we did our run and all that. So we kind of changed things up, some recovery things, because riding that bus for 6 hours it's what we do. I'm not complaining, but it's just, getting back that late, you want to make sure that they got rest. And then I gave them to Monday off as opposed to normally when we come back. So today will be our first really big chance with them. But, on Sunday night, they were positive. There was guys that were disappointed in their performance. I mean, it comes down to this, it's just like in the FBS world. They figured it out a little bit. If you're going to lose one, you got to lose it early. Because when you start getting late, the people that pick you, if you're not the automatic bid, they don't want to see that. So, we're kind of going with that philosophy. I mean, no discredit to West Georgia. They did a great job. They beat us. They outcoached us. They did everything. But we felt like we improved in that game and showed that, they are a 18th and 20th ranked team in the country, that we're probably, if we clean up our mistakes, do some things a little better, we could probably be right there with them. Now, what does that mean? They beat us. I want that loud and clear. They beat us. But we have to improve if we want to beat the other teams that we've beaten on our schedule. Everybody on this schedule we've beaten before, even West Georgia. So we shouldn't look at the schedule as anything other than what it is. It's a tough. There's 4 ranked teams left. That it is what it is. But if you beat those 4 ranked teams, guess what? You get to be ranked too.
I mean, and obviously everything's still in front of you. I mean, I'm
right.
just curious. I mean, how they, after
no, they came in. How kids are. They're more resilient than the coaches. We're the ones that sit around and pout for a while and get mad. But the kids came in. Don't get me wrong. They're upset and they're disappointed and they want answers and they want to fix answers. And sometimes they don't like the answers they get, and that's how the meeting goes sometimes. But what really cost us, Keith, was the middle 8. All right. So we give up a touchdown we score a touchdown. We have a kickoff and we give up a big return because somebody decided to do their own thing instead of doing what they're supposed to do. And then that puts them in position. They run the ball and get 2 good runs because we thought they might try to take some chunks, shots. And so they got 2 runs. So then we settle in. Well, they're in field goal range now and they take their shot. And we had a young guy out there that didn't do what he was supposed to do. And so they score. And that's a credit to them. And so they score. So we come down, go in at halftime. We come back and we drive all the way down the field. We do, Keith, we do score a touchdown to make it 21 to 18. And then with the field goal, 21-19, they take the touchdown off. I get the apology the next day that was a horrendous call. And then we get sacked the next play. Our helmet comes off, the backup comes in, we get sacked, and we get out of field goal range. We punt, and then they have their best drive of the night. And so they won the middle 8. And that put them 2 scores ahead, and we were playing for behind, way behind, trying to catch up, and we just didn't do it. And those are things that we have to fix and understand that when bad things happen, which they do, guess what? We got to snap and clear and play the next play and create positive. And that's what you get sometimes with an immature team.
Watkins, I know. Watkins, you said you had one more question.
Yeah, Coach. You talked about the being 1-3 right now. I think it's the slow starts. You had one of them last year. Obviously, you finished off the year great, but it's all around the country. Do you think with just the transfer portal and everything that kind of goes into it, that slow starts are just kind of inevitable for a lot of teams with new quarterbacks that you're bringing in? I think it's just the day and age that we're in college football.
Well, I think the development piece of the players is what you're missing. And there's 2 types of development. You're taking a freshman and developing as he stays with you, right, for 3 or 4 years. And then you're getting the new guys in and you're trying to develop them into your culture, into your system, because they came from a different culture and a different system. And I think when you put those 2 worlds together, it takes some time. Everybody wants to talk about the connection piece. I think we have good connection on our team. I just think it's sometimes you got to know each other and where they're going to be and how they're going to react to situations. And I think that does take some time. We lost 27 seniors last year.
Yeah.
And our transfers. And so one's starting at Virginia. The other one is kicked off the team at Purdue. And I shouldn't say it like that, but not on the roster anymore at Purdue. And but he was an All-American here. And we lost them, in the spring. So, those are things that you don't quite have time to fix right away. And you got to fix with experience sometimes. So, yeah, I think what everybody's finding out is this new world that we're in. It's hard to be as consistent as you want to, unless you're, obviously probably spending a lot of money. And I'm not talking about at our level. I'm talking about it. I mean, you ask nationwide at the big level. Yeah. Who's the most consistent team? Ohio State, probably, right? Georgia. If you ask me who the 2 most consistent are, I would probably say those 2, and because they're the ones that have won national championships and then been up in there. And so I just think it's hard to do that because everybody. When you start spending that money, everybody wants it right now, and they're still forgetting they're 18 to 22-year-olds that sometimes makes decisions based on wrong thoughts. And, back when you weren't paying them all that money, nobody really, they were a little more lenient. Now, when you start paying them that money, I think what everybody's finding out is, whoa, it's hard to make a living with 18 to 22-year-olds. Would you want them to run your company? But I'm not talking about our people. Let me make that clear because we're not spending the money like that. I'm talking about beyond here. It's when you're paying a kid $200,000 and he's 18 years old, what do you think he's going to do? He's gone from asking mom for $5 and $10 to mom and dad asking them for, trips, cruises and stuff. It's just a different world we're in.
All right. Well, last one, I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Talk about the importance of being back home this week and, a chance to kind of get right, get some rhythm again and kind of move things forward.
Well, we're going to be okay. I mean, I firmly believe that. I like our coaches put together good plans. I like how they're teaching. I like how our players are responding. I mean, we're in a situation that, we don't like to be in, where we're 1-3, but we've got a long way ahead of us. So we need everybody to come out and support us. It's great to be at home. It's great to have the routine at home. It's great to not to have to get on a bus and drive to where you got to go to and then turn around or fly or whatever. I'm not complaining about the bus. It's great to be in familiarity. I mean, we don't have an hour trip to get to the stadium. They have a 5-minute trip to get to the stadium. As a matter of fact, a walk to get to the stadium. All those things come into play. Sleeping in their own beds, the routine that we have here, the things that they know. I think that always helps you at home. And then obviously to play in front of your fans and playing in front of the people that care about you. I think that's always important. And, we love playing in Roy Kidd stadiums. I mean, we love going on the road too, but I mean, the road is difficult for everybody. I mean, you look at a lot of different things across the country. It's hard to win on the road, and you've got to go in and you've got to do a takeover when you go there. And that's what we didn't do at West Georgia. And they showed, what they could do at home. We have to show what we can do at home.
All right. Not seeing any other more questions for Coach. Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys being here. Good to see y'all.
All right. Well, now welcome in Jeremiah Bailey of EKU's defensive line. Jeremiah, you got us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you. All right. We'll open up Michael Watkins with your questions, then we'll go over to Keith.
Jeremiah, being one of the veterans on this team, talk about the performance from this past Saturday compared to the first three games.
I feel like defensively, it's a lot of stuff like how Coach said, like we got to clean up with the details. I feel like he said, like the little things and the details really put us behind in this game. Like winning the middle eight took a toll in the game. We can't let teams just come out of halftime and just do whatever they need to do to get points on the board. And that starts with me as well as the leadership on the team and, making sure everybody's situationally aware and, making sure everybody's on the same page because stuff like that can make us lose a game. But I feel like compared to the first three games, I feel like we're coming together more as a unit. I feel like the trust is there a lot between the group. And I feel like the communication has also gotten better between us.
What do you think, I guess, is the most important thing about coming back home? I mean, you were there last year. Obviously, you saw what that game that kind of switched things for you. So how can you maybe make this game against Nichols the game that flips the switch and you all can start putting things in the right direction as you head down the stretch?
I say really just starting in practice and just having belief in one another. Like going out there and just trusting that the person to the left and the right of you is doing what they're supposed to do at the highest level. And, when like what Coach says in our meetings from last week, like learning it, loving and serving each other. So whenever your brother makes a play, you know what I'm saying, make sure he feels special. You know what I'm saying? Because that boosts confidence in him as well as the team.
Michael, any more questions? You good? All right. Keith, do you have any questions for Jeremiah?
Yeah. Just heard me asking Coach about, just how you guys feeling. I know again, everything's still in front of you. You can make things happen, but what was the mood of the team as you get ready to start another, week, getting ready for another team?
I feel like obviously after the game, it was a hard loss. You know what I mean? We feel like we let that one get away from us. I feel like as a team, we're at the point now where it's like, losing is unacceptable from here on out. You know what I mean? Kind of like that same feeling we had last year, midway through the season. We was in the same point. You know what I mean? Like everything has to be on one accord. Everybody has to come together, and it's more crucial now at this point of the season because like we still kind of control our destiny, but at the same time we do have a conference loss, which can affect us in the long run. So everything's more important. Not that it hasn't been important, but the standard that was there is got to go up, especially in practice.
All right. Jeremiah, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it. We'll now welcome in Braden Latham,
Appreciate
EKU
it.
running back.
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you. All right. Michael?
Yeah, Brad, you look at the way the offense played, obviously best game of the season as far as rhythm and the yards that you all were able to put up. and you had a good game too. There were a couple of good long runs that you were able to kind of put together. Talk about that, and what do you think was the biggest difference for what you all were able to do this past weekend?
Honestly, I feel like the biggest difference from like the first couple of games from this game now is just like Coach Wells was saying, us just playing together for real, just like learning each other and just like taking all those reps consistently. Like I know we've been practicing together with each other in fall camp and like in the summer, but like that in game tempo and like situation is just different. So just like being with each other every day and stuff like that is just. And then like all those Saturdays is just amazing. Also, offensively, like you said, we kind of picked it up, put some points on the board. That was good, but we drove the field, but we gotta learn how to finish, and that's been kind of that was like one of our words last year was finish. So like we can move the ball, and we can take off that time, but like if we don't get no points, that's just really hurting us in the end run because then if their defense gets to stop, then we just chewed out like 8 minutes on the clock for what, and then their offense just gets to go down and score again. So.
All right, last one from me. When you look at the team right now, what's the vibe around the team? 1-3, obviously you haven't performed the way you want to perform. So how are things around the team, especially the offensive unit, where you haven't been able to do the things you want to do through these first 4 games?
I would say we've had some pretty low lows, honestly, but then like looking towards the bright side, it can only go up from here, and just like saying like we just can't play like we played before, honestly, and like just like Baylor was saying, we can't lose another game. And honestly, like playing at home is great and amazing, the atmosphere. And let's be honest, we've been here before, and you've seen us do it. You've seen us do it, and we're gonna do it again. So.
Keith.
I mean, not giving you an out here, but how do you take that feeling of we're at home and kind of like Coach said, 5 minutes and take that on the road when you are making long bus trips and things like that? How do you just kind of put that aside and just kind of, I mean, obviously you had a tough opponent too, but I mean, but how do you do that?
It's just mostly mainly a mentality thing, knowing that like you got to do whatever it takes. You got to push through that extra 5 yards. You got to push through that extra 10 yards. You got to make the pass. You got to make the block, honestly, and knowing that you're away and that you got people like the opposing factors, like the crowd and the band and like the refs might not be on your side and stuff like that. You just gotta know you can't leave it up to the refs, honestly, and just like knowing that man to the left of you or that man to the right of you, or that man right in front of you, like snapping the ball is just gonna do what they have to do to be the best, so we can come out with that W. So I think those are all those things.
And you guys have kind of done this to yourselves, but you got this streak going at home. Is there pressure to keep it going?
Yeah, there's a big pressure, and I have a great feeling that we're gonna go undefeated and we're a kid again this year, and just keep stacking on that so we can be better.
All right, Braden, thank you so much for your time. Media members, thanks for being on the call today, and we will
Thank
see
you.
you on Saturday. Thanks for joining.